Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit of a special video. I don't have a sermon planned out. Instead, I wanted to talk about a topic that's kind of near to my heart right now as I'm seeing a lot of things unfold in the world right now. I want to talk a little bit today about deconstructing one's faith. There's a lot of celebrities right now. There's a lot of social media influencers and YouTubers out there right now making all kinds of videos and going viral for walking away from Christianity and deconstructing their faith and thinking that they've found another way to life than following God. And I just want to make a couple quick comments on that real quick. So I want to start off with reading something out of the book of Exodus 13:17. God has just led the Israelites out of Egypt, and now the Egyptians are going to start chasing the Israelites to try to get them back. And this is what it says. When Pharaoh let the people go, God did not lead them on the road through the Philistine country, though that was shorter. For God said, if they face war, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led the people around by the desert toward the Red Sea. Then the Egyptians catch up with them, and the people blame Moses for leading them to their graves as they thought that they were about to die, that God was going to turn their back on them because he led them a way that was more difficult than he could have. But God gives a reason. If the people would have seen what they could have seen, they would have turned back, and God foresaw that. We have a lot of people right now walking away from Christianity because the way the world is going towards Christianity and the way of the world is really starting to butt heads with God's way. The world doesn't like the way that God wants to do things because there's accountability in God. And so people are walking away because things are harder than what they would like them to be. I work at a computer refurbishing company, and so all day long I see people all around me taking apart electronics to try to fix them. Their first step is they have to try to turn it on to see if there's power. If there's no power, they have to start taking apart whatever electronic they're working on, and they need to see what's broken. And at its core, deconstruction is actually really helpful, especially for people who have grown up in a Christian household. I actually recommend it. My family and we grew up with an abusive pastor as a dad, and I was very shocked several years ago when I got saved, when I actually learned how different the story of the Bible was than what my dad had taught it as. And just recently, this last year, my sister also deconstructed her faith. But the difference between what she did and what I've done and what a lot of people are doing right now, especially in the media world, people are deconstructing it and they're leaving it unconstructed. At the computer refurbishing place I work at, when people take apart an electronic, they don't just leave it apart when they see that there's something broken about it. They're supposed to put it back together again correctly and fix what was wrong with it. You can't just take apart Christianity, the parts that were wrong that were taught to you, and say that the whole picture is incorrect. You need to put it back together, and you need to test the things that are wrong and the things that are right. 1 John 4, 1 through 3 says it like this. Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Christ has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world. Deconstruction is actually a very helpful thing when it's used as a tool, but you can't leave things unconstructed. You have to put it back together again, and you have to fix what was wrong with it in the first place. I just want to urge anybody who's in that kind of realm right now of taking apart your faith and looking at the things that don't make sense and that are scary and that you'd rather walk away from, don't just put it down while all of the pieces are laid everywhere. Seek guidance from somebody spiritually more mature than you and put it back together correctly.